vengeance is mine.
I remember when The Black Phone came out in 2021 and I got to see this one early. I remember not being impressed by the clearly cut down first act, but the film came to life in the second half. Ethan Hawke is so uniquely creepy as the Grabber, and Mason Timms as Finney counters him excellently as an innocent protagonist. Their intriguing dynamic made for a really terrifying horror flick, but there was something about it that just didn't feel complete. Sure, it ends with a triumphant death and justice was served, but I still wanted more despite the story clearly being over. Then they announced Black Phone 2. See, when Blumhouse announces sequels, it usually means that they're about to milk every last drop out of an IP that exploded while losing everything that made the original film so excellent. Now, I might be putting my foot in my mouth here, but Black Phone 2 seems to be a rare improvement over the original film just from the trailer alone. In today's video, I want to talk about why Black Phone 2 is just shot up to the top of my most anticipated of the year list, and how I think this clear reinvention will turn this one-off horror flick into a successful new franchise. Now let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Fellas, The Black Phone 2 looks so good. Very late last night, the trailer dropped for this icy supernatural sequel, and my mind was blown. Scott Derrickson's terrifying style set in the snow is the first thing that really impressed me about this movie. That, on top of its even more supernatural balls-to-the-wall concept, really has me intrigued here. This looks ambitious as f***. The plot description for the sequel reads, 4 years ago, 13-year-old Finn killed his abductor and escaped, becoming the sole survivor of the Grabber. But true evil transcends death, and the phone is ringing again. As Finn, now 17, struggles with life after his captivity, the headstrong 15-year-old Gwen begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone and seeing disturbing visions of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp known as Alpine Lake. Determined to solve the mystery and end the torment for both her and her brother, Gwen persuades Finn to visit the camp during a winter storm. There, she uncovers a shattering intersection between the Grabber and her own family history. Together, she and Finn must confront a killer who has grown more powerful in death and more significant to them than either could imagine. A few things to break down there. So, the quick flashes to kids running away from someone chasing them, and those shots of a grown-up Gwen down in the basement from the original film must be those dream sequences. Director Scott Derrickson talks about the differences between this movie and the original, saying a middle school coming-of-age horror movie is a different animal than a high school coming-of-age horror film. And there's a ratcheting up of intensity because of that. That's pretty clear from this The Shining-inspired trailer here, man. You got Ethan Hawke running around with an axe like he's Jack Torrance. I love this. Stephen King must be a proud dad right now. I'm also curious to know what this intersection is between their family and the Grabber. Could it explain the origin of their dead mother's supernatural powers that were passed on to Gwen? That's the theory that I'm the most akin to right now, especially considering that the working title for this sequel was Mysterium, which typically refers to some sort of enigmatic secret revolving around a religious group. Was this mother character victim to some sort of secret ritual that has affected their family through multiple generations now? Could that also be the reason that the Grabber is back? I know a lot of you are sick of cult horror movies. That might be what we end up getting here, though, as an explanation for all the supernatural BS. Maybe it's not the entire focus, but religious cults seem to be some sort of big part of this. Okay, I can't wait to talk about this any longer. The Krugerization of the Grabber has to be the coolest thing about today's trailer. While Ethan Hawke's performance in the previous film is astounding, I found myself more interested in the supernatural side of things from the previous entry. The best part about the Black Phone is the ghost kids helping Finney escape. That's the thing that makes it different from any other abduction story. To now make the ghost of the main villain from the previous film come back with a vengeance and potentially even more powers, maybe something similar to Freddy, that's a great idea. 10 out of 10, no notes. And I'm not just saying this as a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, maybe I kind of am, but there's a good reason why right now especially this is a great idea. The brilliance of this is that fans of the original Nightmare on Elm Street have been clamoring for a genuinely scary version of Freddy. The 2010 remake attempted and failed, but with the rights in a nasty mixed up situation, it doesn't seem like we'll be getting any more crazy Krueger anytime soon. Interestingly enough though, one of the many companies interested in resurrecting Freddy Krueger has been Blumhouse. Jason Blum had a whole interview talking about this and even went on to call the 77-year-old Robert Englund young and would try to convince him to put all of that makeup back on. Nothing seemed to come from that update until now with the Black Phone 2 trailer, which seems to be the answer. Here, we seemingly have a terrifying supernatural killer haunting characters' dreams with a much grimier, less silly tone with visceral, bloody, fantastical kills. We got someone spinning in a phone booth back and forth like this while blood sprays on the walls. There's someone going like up and down underneath like a bed, like a bunk bed. Why couldn't I think of that word? That looks like a crazy kill. Honestly, this looks like the perfect modern adaptation of that beloved series. It's obviously not a best case scenario. I would love to just get a brand new Freddy or a brand new Jason movie, but unfortunately, those franchises are tied up in some bizarre legal battles. But maybe just for right now, until all of that comes undone, some of these imitators can scratch the itch. I personally loved the film In a Violent Nature from last year that was essentially a Friday the 13th movie from the perspective of a Jason Voorhees-style killer. It wasn't exactly the same thing to avoid legal battles and not just make the same movie again, because that's not what we want. You gotta add some sort of new touch to that, whether that's tweaking with the tone, making it more modern, making it more of a throwback. I don't know, just make it something different. But now I can see a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street fans flocking to the Black Phone franchise to fill the void for now, meaning this might not be the last sequel. Now, just like In a Violent Nature, I don't think that this is going to be exactly a ripoff of that horror icon. The Grabber does appear to be different from Freddy in one very unique way. It appears that the Grabber isn't just appearing in people's dreams, he's actually killing people in real life. There's multiple shots of him chasing after people with an axe, and he's even ripping that part of his, like the bottom part of his mask off and ripping off his lips. You can see his like bloody face and teeth poking out of it. It looks nasty. So clearly the same Nightmare on Elm Street rules do not apply to this, even though it's very similar. This film is clearly doing something fresh by applying a darker tone and maybe even a different style of supernatural killer. If this movie is a success, and God, I hope it is, reinventing the Grabber as this supernatural killer coming after kids from the beyond, I think it could be a whole new franchise of films. Although many of us had our doubts about this sequel, including myself, I'll admit it, I was wrong about this one. This looks like it has a lot of potential to be a full-on franchise. We're in the middle of a slasher renaissance right now. We need a Freddy Krueger-style killer out there, man. Hopefully Ethan Hawke can deliver that on October 17th of this year, baby. I cannot wait. Real quick before you close out of this video, I would like to ask you guys to please subscribe to my gaming channel. We are nearing 1,000 subscribers over there, and it would be really dope if we could hit that sometime soon. Over on GullGotha, we're playing a bunch of horror games, including Repo, Dead by Daylight, and even Alien Isolation, so please make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot to my fiance and I who are trying to build this channel together. It has been a ton of fun. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. So what do you guys think about the Black Phone 2? Are you excited for maybe a darker imitation of Nightmare on Elm Street? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.